is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of battle. The war is inevitable. And let it come. I repeat it, sir, let it come. It is in vain to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. Others may take, but as for me, give me liberty, or give me death.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Hope everyone's had a good day. Give me a quick second so I can share this link. I did say eventually we were going to do a topic. This wasn't the topic I had in mind, but caught the video that I uploaded last night after I did the live stream, which is going to open this topic up tonight because it was interesting. How much consent? Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. Welcome, We Are Free TV. After the stream I did last night, it made me realize just how much consent we give out. You know, I've seen the hashtags, we do not consent, hear people talking about it. But when it comes to the technology, this day of age, the apps we use, the platforms we socialize on, how much consent do we really have? So this is kind of lost right now. Last night I did a live stream. And after I got done with the live stream, I had decided to go check my Twitter account for this channel. And I had gained two new followers, which was odd because to me, I've noticed in the past week, exactly, they say do not consent, then consent. You know, I noticed something. I mean, we've been talking about AIs, the algorithms, and all that lovely jazz past few weeks, including, you know, censorship and all that, privacy, all that hoopla. And I sat here and broke down how the AI and the algorithms work. Well, I got to catch it in action. You know, so it prompted me to do a video last night and show the results. I think you were here for that part when I talked about you was here last night for the live stream, We Are Free TV. I know I think you were still here when I started talking about how my friend had linked me an article about drones, the new laws that were being changed in North Carolina, and I kind of started talking about North Carolina a bit, you know, Boone. And lo and behold, I go to Twitter. Notice I got a follower, drone law. You guys might say, well, that's just coincidence. Well, there's nothing coincidence. I've noticed and been monitoring for a while certain when I do videos, hi Pam, that I start getting more ad-based followers on Twitter. I mean, these are the ones that disappear after a while, and a couple weeks after they realize that this channel has nothing to do with their whatever they're promoting for their on their follower page on Twitter. But it was interesting. No one of my tags, description, the title of the live stream have anything about drones. Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. But because I had talked about it, and this goes to show you guys how powerful this algorithm and AI is here on these platforms. It picked it up, and because I have a Twitter account, I shared this video to Twitter, that live stream to Twitter. Therefore, I gave consent to Twitter because of a third-party apps and part of the TOSs and stuff. It shared that information to its AI and algorithms, which directed that video to drone law. Of course, then there was a couple other drone followers after that that resulted in it by the end of the day. So, and it goes back to, I don't think people realize exactly how much consent you give away when you turn your phone on, when you join a social platform. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Lines, Gab, they're all the same. You know, we live in a day and age where everything has a third party. You give consent to third-party apps. As soon as you turn your phone on and register your phone, or however you do it, if it's through contract, you've consented to third-party apps because they use third-party apps to update phone, to update the programs. That's not saying you didn't put a single app in your phone. It already comes with apps. Same way when you register your computer, you've given consent. I mean, the theory of we do not consent sounds good, but it's just that. It's an illusion. You know, it's the illusion of we really give up. Most people don't take the time to read the fine print, the TOS. They don't understand what are they really giving. You know, because you're actually committing a contract, a written contract of any form when you activate a device, when you install an app onto your computer, your cell phone, your iPad, or when you decide to play a video game, or when you buy the web device that's out there. You're giving consent. When you buy that smart TV, you're giving consent. You know, this is the day and age we're living in. We're living into where, you know, what is consent? You know, I'm not consent to be having privacy violated. Exactly. I agree with you. Here, let me share my screen here. You can see what's being chat. I agree with what TV said. We not only have to adapt, but create something. It's the way to defeat trying to control us. You know, I've also talked about how these algorithms and AIs work and stuff like that. You know, in a sense, we are educating that. You know, we are the AI's teacher. Why? Because it's lack of the system. It's everywhere. I mean, it's hard to break down the blockchain and all that for people to understand how things work. You know, just here, as people that come into the stream, live, we talk back and forth, and I interact with them. We're learning from each other, much as the AI is it's programmed to self-learn, become self-aware. So by not talking about consent to we do not consent, now we're leaving an open interpretation of what's right, wrong. Is it for a third party to actually listen in through our TVs, through our computers, through our cell phones? We talk about those privacies. Those are our, these are supposed to be sanctuaries, our homes, our safe spot. But they're not really that anymore. And I think people we get so caught up. We got to have the new iPhone that comes out, or this technology, and we don't question things. We don't question the contracts. Do you accept the service of this? We don't read it. It's reading it. Leave it as it is, because it can change without your notification. And most of them, all it's doing on the TOS is protecting that company's butt. So they can't be sued, so they're not liable for anything. That's what TOS is, a company. And we would do the same thing. But there's so many people out there that believe we have that privacy. Everybody forgets the old saying, once on the net, it can never be removed. So many people share so much information about themselves. They get so used to it. It's like this computer screen is like I'm talking to the real person in front of me. I'm sharing this real stuff and not realizing how many other people actually can see it. How much of that information can be shared through third parties, apps and stuff. It's just like I know what platforms I can use as tools and which ones I can't. I can't use Facebook for this channel as tool. Yet I can talk about anything less esoteric on Facebook, for the most part. Yeah, if I go about like Christianity on Facebook, then I'm playing a dangerous game. And like I said, Facebook for me is just for my close friends and family now. It's not for business. It's not for because the things I talk about will get me banned. We get caught up in all the everyday things. We don't even realize how much information we are giving out. We're actually consenting to. We don't realize the fact that what are we actually really consenting to allowing into our homes? I mean, I've sat here and explained the esoteric part of these computer screens, or like mirrors, scrying mirrors, Ouija boards, whatever you want to add as a label to that. That's what these things are. They're a doorway, a gateway. It's the word gateway. The more you start looking to the technology and understanding it, the more you can see how it's been being used, how it's evolving, how much of the ideal of privacy that we don't have. They become illusions in the world of the internet and of our tech devices, such as our phones, iPads, whatever else they keep coming up with. Some say, "Oh, just take the battery out of your phone." Well, there's been some cases where it's been proven that stuff doesn't actually stay up. The battery is the backup in it. You don't, it's like I've pointed out. Oh, disconnecting your router doesn't work. We're all connected by email. We're all connected by something when it comes to the internet. Most of the people that work in factories or businesses, Even your banks, all that information is connected onto the internet. As I explained last night, the bank I had used to do banking, they sent me a letter saying that, my information, about some of my information to third parties. It's like, what? I'm like, oh no, we're done. My banking information is nobody else's business. Fine. See, that's where little thing called, wow, what do I want to sacrifice? What do I want to give up? We're giving up something. Nothing in this world is free. There's always a catch. What do I give up? I don't have anything to do because I want to bring this information to you, talk about with you, interact with you. I'm giving up some of my privacy. I'm giving up some of my freedoms. One way to look at it. Another way to look at it, the way I'm looking at it, is I'm learning you guys as much as you're learning from me. I also now look at it that, well, in theory, we might be educating the AI. I prove it one way or the other, but if you believe the term self-aware and that learning all the information that it accesses on the internet, so therefore would we not be educating it? So it's a theory. Can't prove it. But, hey, maybe that's another way to look at it. Maybe that's another way to look how we deal with things. Okay, we know that we're giving up all these freedoms, these privacies. Yeah, when privacy is gone, it's time to speak your mind. I'm all for that. I speak my mind quite fluently. Because, what do you, I mean, that's why I said, what's more powerful, money or your voice? They can take your money. Well, they can take your voice, but we know how that has to come about. Your voice is more powerful than money, than anything. Words. That's why, yeah, the whole NFL thing. Watching it, because it's disrespectful to me what they're doing. But at the same time, I'll use an example, J.J. Watt, what he did, all the money he raised. He used his fame, his credibility, ample. That I respect. Not the person takes a knee, then jumps in his multi-million-dollar car and goes to his multi-million-dollar house and doesn't advocate nothing, only on the football field. He doesn't live by an example. I have no respect for that. You're just, in my eyes, part of the problem. And for that, I have no. Like I've always said, there's bad apples and everything. We see the bad in technology. We see the misuse, third-party apps. Most people don't know. I'll just create my own. I'll get away from it all. Okay, go ahead. As soon as somebody that subscribes to you or works for you, a video from YouTube or VidMe or wherever onto your website, you've just consented to third-party apps. Why? Because that is part of the stipulation in the TOSs of all these sites with videos, because they have to have access to your site to update that video player, which means they have access to allowing third-party entities that you do not know who they may be come to your site and have access into your network, into the back end, not the front end, where nobody else has access to. All those emails, Oh. Okay. That was weird. All those emails from your members that sign up, that people wonder why you get emails from various sites, various people you don't know from. It goes into your spam. Oh, that's some of the reasons. You know, when you use search engines to search different things, you're giving consent for your information to be watched. Oh, you might check mark, this and that in your settings, so it's blocking cookies and stuff. You still gave consent because you created the account platform, therefore you agreed to the terms of service. See the illusion there? The illusion that you have control of blocking stuff like that? You don't. Yeah, I mean, that's very true. I mean, that's history. History of games is a distraction. It always has been. I like to look at it as a good thing sometimes because it's a break thing. In truth, it's always meant to be a distraction. It's the way to appease the crowd, keep the crowd from becoming the mob. It's also a way to divide people. But at the same time, I consider it is also a way to, because I was sports, baseball, football, soccer, volleyball, and played it most of my adult life. But we were taught the values of sports as a role model. When we get in those positions, we're role models. We're taught that, when we take that field, we're also listen to the national anthem. We're honoring our ancestors and the people that are fighting for our freedom so we could be there. I remember stories of World War II, World War I, how baseball players did. No, I'd hate to see a war at this time of the age. How many of our so-called sports figures actually voluntarily go and fight war? Very few. It's just like now you get your tickets online. What privacies and information do you give up when you buy your ticket off online? Everything's involved in an app now these days. You buy it from your phone, which makes, thinking about what consents am I giving up? What freedoms and privacy rights am I giving up when I allow things to be delivered into my house? Oh, we'll have a camera in there. Okay, there's one privacy right I'm giving up. I'm allowing a stranger to come into my house. I'm allowing any hacker to be able to hack my lock now that could come into my house. Nobody talks about those things. Everybody thinks, oh, it's great. I can get my food delivered to me now. Or if I'm away, I can have somebody just bring the packages right inside my house. But you don't realize there's an other side of it. There's always two sides to things. And truthfully, there's more than two sides to things, because then you got the things that happen in the shadows, the things that we don't see. Like I said, it's one elaborate chess game. You have people in the shadows doing stuff, which we, in this case, we'll call them third-party apps, because we don't know who they are. They're the third party. That third party could be multiple parts. Because what information does that third party give out to another third party? So how much consent do you really have? I mean, it sounds catchy, we do not consent. It's quite trending on Twitter. I'm sorry, you consented as soon as you turned that phone on and accepted the TOS. As soon as you put that app on your computer, on your iPad, on your phone. As soon as you plugged that smart TV, bought that smart TV and plugged it in. As soon as you put that electronic surveillance and electronic lock so they can bring the packages inside your house, you gave that consent away. And the worst part of it is you don't know who all has access to that, because third-party sources are basically third-party anonymous. You know, we can talk about all the beautiful things that come with it, yeah. Less stressful, I don't have to go to the store. I mean, there's good, positive thing. Nobody talks about what are you giving up? What freedoms are you giving away? What rights are you giving away? What privacy are you giving away? Ask. You guys, you can ask any, if you really want to ask a question, ask it. I'll stop and answer. It's just as much about you guys as it is about what I'm talking about, even if it is a title. My philosophy on question, guys, even if you think the question might be stupid, the only stupid question is the question unasked. What is the true reason you defend the truth? Good question. First, we got to understand what's truth. What I may conceive as truth, you may not. In a sense, truth can be just as an opinion. Why do I defend truth, or the ideology of truth? Because it's important. It's important to be upfront in the things you do. It's important to, I pointed out with J. Watt, living by example. If I make a mistake where I see that I might have perceived to be true, and you bring up good valid points that make me question that, I go and research it and find out that it's wrong, I will correct myself. Catch you in the next video. We are Free TV. You have a good night. Truth, because just as much as I defend what I believe the Constitution is, it's important that we find these things, bring it to people's attention. Why? What does the truth do? Well, truth can hurt, because we've believed in an illusion, a false reality. When we hear the truth, it does hurt, especially when we've been taught something different. It's probably one of the most numbing feelings you feel. And it makes us question. I mean, I question everything I hear from everyone. Just like consent. What is there truth to consent? Do we have consent? Well, I'd like to think we do. I'd like to say when somebody says no, they mean no. Not maybe, or an illusion of. That should be truth. When somebody says no, that is truth. A bad analogy. On my part. In the end, how do we know what is truth? Unless we've. That's why I always say, we have all the knowledge in the world. What good is it without experience, because through experience where we gain the wisdom to know it's truthful. And there's also, you got to look at it this way. At this point, and maybe in your life, what you hear, you're just not ready for that. It's not, as I put it, it's not the path that you're on right now. You need to learn a few things before this part, get a full understanding of this part, and you realize, okay, because in our lives we do come across that, where at that time we just needed to be what we were doing, believe in what we were believing. We weren't ready to face the reality that maybe that wasn't all the way truthful. And as you can see, I'm not really defending the truth. Because in a sense, what is truth? Well, we're so divided that everybody has their own truth. Or they believe that in their own truth. Do you learn what is true? For me, when I defend truth, I'm defending your right and ability to believe in what you believe is the truth. Even though I disagree. That is my right. My right, but my purpose is also to respect the fact that that's what you believe. I should do my job. Why do you believe that? Let me go research. How do you think that way? Maybe I was misled. It goes right back into what we were talking about consent, and we do not consent. Every time we upgraded technology or put an app on our phone, we like to think of things black and white. We like to think of things that they're upfront, honest, and truthful with us. When they show us this is what you're giving up. It looks good. Yeah, I accept that. That's not a problem for me. We miss the fact that buried within the TOS, buried within all that stuff, it talks about third parties. And what is a third party? Who's that third party associated with? Who's that third party allowing to be a third party to them? That's the part where we don't give consent to. But yet we did because we clicked that accept button, or we agreed to it to be on this platform. I'm not defending these platforms for the things they do, because I just thoroughly disagree watching people get censored, watching them get banned, because in my opinion, you have the right to free speech. You have the right to believe in what you want, say what you want, and express those things. That's your right. That's your voice. But I also look at it on the opposite side of things when we're dealing with the technical side. This is my home. Would I let a criminal or a stranger into my home that wishes to steal from me? No. When I having a private conversation with my friends from my house, inside my house, it's just that private. It's not meant to be shared. Maybe we're just sitting around philosophizing, throwing theories and ideas, just having fun. And because something was said, or this was happening a lot in the gaming community on Twitch. I don't know how many of you guys actually heard about it. There for a while, people's houses their doors were getting kicked in by SWAT. Why? Because somebody didn't agree with what they were saying or didn't like them, so they'd call the police and file a false report. And it was getting serious. I mean, you were having cops come into the house thinking, there's a crime being committed, or in some cases, they said there was a murder happening. Somebody's with a gun. They come in busting in with guns pointed at kids. I don't think people realize that. It didn't get much media attention. It got some, but those of us that was on Twitch and in the gaming community, we've seen it happen too much. I've seen it happen with streamers here on YouTube that would go to places. The trolls would do things like that. See, that's the stuff you're actually giving consent to when you do things like I did when you're on here. You know, it's also about being responsible. How much information do you give out? I could look at it as from a prepper standpoint. If I've got a spot where I'm going to bug out to, am I going to show that to you? Show you identification marks so just anybody can come find me? No, because if I do that and I show you a road sign accidentally or specific landmarks that could be only in one area, I'm letting maybe the wrong people come in and they see, oh, he's a surplus of food. Well, if something ever went right, we know where to go get our food. We can just raid this place. He doesn't have that much weaponry. He don't have that many guns. He'd be an easy target. And then people seem to forget that. Or they watch Doomsday Preppers, the reality shows stuff, where they think it's okay to show all that stuff because they're getting paid to do it. So there's a responsibility on our part. It's also realizing what we actually have given consent to. The fact is, when we turn the electronics on, we are giving pretty much everything away. You know, it's not supposed to be like that. You know, supposedly there's supposed to be laws in place to protect us. But there isn't, because it goes back to what I've stated in previous videos. How they view corporate. Corporations are not subject to the Constitution. They're not a U.S. citizen, individual citizen. So therefore the Constitution does not apply to the corporation. Nobody will make laws against it. Our Supreme Court, even with 3 justices explaining exactly what will happen by it being voted the way it was, and see, that's the thing people don't get. They think because in the court case I'm talking about, it was about giving donations to political parties. What it opened it up to by the wording of law and the wording of the way the judges that voted against or voted for it to allow corporates to put as much money into it as they want, opened the loophole that allowed corporations not to be responsible or accountable to the Constitution. It's all about wording sometimes, how it is worded, loopholes. Much like a TOS is nothing but one big loophole, because it's subject to change at any time without giving you notification. Then they add terminologies like third party. Usually, in most cases, it's third party plural. You know, but they say, oh, we gave you a warning. We told you it does this, this, and this, and you clicked accept. Well, when you clicked accept, that's just like signing a contract, except for you're doing it digitally. You're giving away your consent. You're giving away your freedoms, your privacy. You know, perfect world, I would consider rights, privacy just like I would consider morals. You don't take that away from people. That's their safety. That's their protection. That's what keeps them from being scum of the earth, so to say. But there's also bad morals. That's why I kind of do the videos the way I do them. Talk about these things openly. Sometimes it might seem like I'm not so much for it or against it, or I try to find the good with the bad. And that's what we have to do. We've got to take the good with the bad. But, we do have a choice. There is consent. If you really want to think about it and admit to it, don't buy the products. Don't buy the smart TV. Don't buy the computer. Unplug. And I know a lot of people have done that. They've unplugged. I mean, is there still privacy? There's still security? No. There's still an illusion there because of all the technology we have. Drone technology, satellite technology, Wi-Fi technology, the towers. There's no really getting away from it anymore. More and more, it's the unplugging theory and ideas become kind of an illusion. It still works in some cases. In some places you can. But is that living life? Is that even, some people say it is. Some people enjoy it. Some people say they're more free than ever. But what are they doing? They're isolating themselves from everyone else to get that ideology of safety. And most people don't go out to places. They don't leave the cities and stuff or towns. Like me, over the years I've gotten to travel a lot because I like it. I like going places, seeing new things. Things I've learned, like especially when you start going farther south, since I live in Ohio, all the way up north in Ohio, literally all the way in the north and western corner. When I go to south in small little towns, or when I talk about North Carolina, where I was living, in the mountains, yeah, Boone's like a half-hour drive up the road. Wilkesboro is about the same amount of drive down the mountain. But yet in that area, you're still away from the cities. It's like going back 20 years or 30 years. You see a difference. You don't see the bustle, the rush until you actually go up the mountain or down the mountain into the bigger towns and cities. It's still, they still had an old school general store until they decided to redo the road. And they forced the guy out. It was an old school general store. Buy gas, buy your bread, buy your cigarettes, whatever. Buy your ammo. They had it all. That's how, much it was still unchanged from the rest of society. There's still places like that. But slowly and slowly, as I pointed out with that scenario, they decided to widen the road, make it a 4-lane. So therefore, they need to monetize. So they forced that guy to sell the place so they could run the road through there. Because they basically told him, if you don't, we'll just go around and you'll be blocked and nobody can get to you. Unfortunately, it didn't get pointed out to the guy until after the fact. He could have listed it as historical and protected his property, but, you know, dealing with older generations, community that don't stay up with the laws and stuff, and didn't realize you could have done that at first. And he still would have had to fought the system. You know, you still see places like that, but more and more they're pushing. Like, even I live out in the country now. You know, we still have decent internet. They're pushing 5G to where, you know, this whole area we blanketed with 5G. There will be no escaping it. You know, we hear all the supposable things that 5G can do. You know, the frequencies that it puts out, the maybe radiation that it might put out. You know, it goes back to some of the things I say. Who do you believe? You know, everybody's got their scientists that say one thing, then you have this group of scientists that say another. Who do you believe? Well, I know what I feel from when I've been around 5G. That's where I go to. You guys need to start relying on yourself. How's your body react to these things? Do your ears start ringing for all of a sudden? You've never been around loud stuff, worked in a factory around heavy machinery. You shouldn't have the ringing in your ear. But yet, then you take yourself away from those things, go out deeper into the country where nothing's really at, that ringing goes away. What's that tell you? As soon as you start getting closer to the towers and stuff, the ringing comes back. Those are the things that you can pick up on your own, understand on your own. Listen to your own body's own thoughts, how things make you feel. In a sense, we can do that with the technology. Once we understand that, when we give consent to something, we're giving up something. Okay, so now how can we protect ourselves just a little bit? Truly, I mean, I can't really answer this one because, the more it advances, the more things you get. Like me, my computer. I don't own a TV. Refuse, will not buy one. But eventually the TV I got will go out. Which is okay, I don't watch it at all. But my parents have one. My sister has one. But now that I'm back here, I had couldn't even give consent or deny consent to the TVs to access my computer. They automatically accessed it. I had no say in the matter. And mind you, all the settings for the smart TV for doing that is turned off. It's not supposed to access the internet or nothing, but yet it still does. Just like with my cell phone, when I go to the store, how many different people, when it changes to whatever network is available, open, yeah, I think it's going to really mess with people. I agree with you, Pam. I don't know what's really going to do to our anatomies and our bodies, but I know what 4G does and 2G. And, when you're dealing with energy, that's what it is. We're dealing with energy and frequencies and vibrations. It has an effect on everything, our environment, our bodies. Oh yeah, I know that's what they want. There's no doubt in my mind about that part. It's a control mechanism. I mean, there's been all countless studies done on that. Now, I just understand it from a different perspective. And that's, and I try to use that perspective and break it down as much as I can. To explain how it uses these technologies being used. I enjoy tech because I can find the advantages of it. Not to be out of it. There is advantages of it. I mean, it allows us to connect with people we don't normally do. Learn new things. Interact with new people. That I enjoy. I mean, is that worth a little sacrifice to some privacy and freedoms? I mean, that's where it becomes to your morals. What are you willing to give up? Me? I'm going to talk about it, whether they like it or not, because I don't think we should have to ever give up any of our freedoms, any of our privacy. Because, mark my words, when people start getting these devices into their homes, allow people to deliver their stuff while they're not there, or maybe they are there, it goes back to what I was pointing out. They might be making out with their girlfriend or wife, and lo and behold, this stranger just walks into their house, or they forget that little camera's up there. Next thing you know, they might see themselves somewhere on the internet. It's going to happen. Just like it's going to happen. Somebody's going to hack that device. Yes, you did. As soon as you activated it, Tech even knows very right. You freely gave up your freedom when you activated your phone. You freely gave up your freedoms when you plugged in that TV, put that router and had that receiver put on your antennas for your internet. You gave up the rights. And we see it branching into other areas. I mean, it's just not in the tech now. So while it is still tech, the banks, we now give up those rights to the banks because they deal with their parties and stuff. And it goes on and on. When we go inside a store, there's the surveillance cameras that's connected to the internet. There's Wi-Fi in buildings now. Like my dad, earlier this year, he went to the doctors for diabetes. Now, they run facial recognition in the hospitals to make sure you are the person that's supposed to be there for, that was the excuse they gave him, that appointment, that you weren't somebody else. Dangerous technology in the wrong hands because now you're giving up your identity. You're giving up everything. But you need medical. People need medical. They need to be able to go to the doctor. They need to be able to get the prescription. You break your arm. Now you're going to be put in the system. Now it's coming to the point where, it's like I said, with the driverless cars. Yep. Well, you forgot to make a payment on something, therefore or you forgot, you had a fine that you didn't pay. Well, now when you get into that car or that cab or whatever, since it's driverless, it's going to have cameras in it. It's going to see you, facial recognize you, and instead of taking you to your destination, it's going to take you to the cop shop. Lock you in the car until the cops come out with the cuffs on you. Or because you said something while talking with a friend and your cell phone picked it up. You might get flagged. When you get into that car, we might need to investigate and question you something. And it takes you there instead of your destination. Nobody's talked about that yet either. How much are you willing to, what are you willing to consent to, guys? Yeah, I was wondering about that. They declined to talk to me. I actually went in with a camera and was asking questions, and they declined to answer any of my questions and told me I had to turn the camera off and get off the property. Because truthfully, I live out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, Bryan is a small town to me. It's not a city. You know, they call it a city. What, maybe lucky 3,000 people? I'd say that less than that. But yet, that's how their hospitals are set up. And it's just not there. I've talked to a few other people, get my vet in every hospital, including your local, smaller doctor's offices. So, you know, just like I said, we do not consent. In theory, sounds great, but you've already consented. You already gave up all those things. Just like I gave up those things when I created the YouTube channel, when I created my Facebook page, when I created my Twitter page, my page on the Minds, on Gab. Every time, any website I ever built and created, I gave up those things. Back then, I didn't know about all the things I gave up when I created that stuff. I didn't realize how much information, because we was always about trying to protect our, you know, members, you know, protect their identities, protect their emails and stuff. In truth, we had no say in it. It was an illusion. Because I'm going to tell you can't post videos from all these platforms, which I could on the platform I had built because I had it so you could download from straight from your computer. Yeah, they're making people a slave without knowing it. Tacky, there's a video I did you might want to watch. It's talking about do we still live in a caste system? It's not this isn't a new concept. Just because we're talking about technology. This is a very old practice. You know, scholars and historians, they call it the caste system. What is a caste system? A caste system, the easiest way to recognize it is king, queen, and monarchy. You had your nobles, your peasants. Every society, every culture has a form of caste system. You know, your priest class, your working class, it's various different labels things. We call ourselves a republic, a democracy. But yet we're still, in a sense, we're modern. Our culture is more modern on Rome. Rome was a republic. Rome had a senate. The only difference was it had a Caesar. They had more, we'd consider the Caesar more of a dictator now. Which sense, it's still a king. He ruled. Here in the United States, we have a caste system. Whether we want to believe it or not, we have a government. Our government consists of two houses. We have a judiciary branch, an executive branch. And we see how that works. Just like we still have our nobility class, our celebrities, our professional athletes. They act like they are better than all of us. We are the working class. And we have the poor, who are even under us in the middle class. We've never got away from the caste system, no matter what label we call it. It's like that even in religious sectors. No matter what religion you follow. You have the preacher, you have the deacon, the bishop, and various other terms, and you have the congregation. You have the master. And I can use other terminology. You have master-slave, master-sub. Those that are submissive to the master. Not entirely a slave, because they still have things they don't consent to, that they won't do, so therefore they don't give the master full control. That's a whole another, probably another bad analogy on my part. So I'm not going to get into that part. You know, like I said, we do live in a reality that's filled with illusions. You know, that's how they keep us divided. It's just like, I did an academic paper that published on Academia about what heathen, heretic, and pagan meant. Taking it down to the ideology, the original origin and usage of the word. All three words mean free thinker. The common focus. As you traverse down where are first being used, which we know who coined the term heretic. And that's not me bagging Catholics, but his religion. As I pointed out just a little bit ago, you have a hierarchy even within, whether you want to believe it or not. And the Catholic Church deemed anybody they deemed in history the free thinker wouldn't adhere to the dogmas of the church. Therefore, the free thinker is a threat to the church, and therefore they will be heathens and pagans. Free thinkers. See, I like to also use history and show history, how we just keep repeating it. We're supposed to learn from history so we don't repeat it. You know? It's like, if you look at most of the politicians in the U.S., it's the same family or family lines that are always the politicians. It's never the common you out. Never you in those positions. Why? Because you're the peasant in their eyes. You not consent to that ideology, that way of thinking. You will not sell out your fellow brother and sister. You want them to have everything that everybody else has. That's a threat to these people. See, there's your weapon. Anybody wants a weapon to use against these people? It's truth and fear. They fear us more than anybody ever imagined. They fear losing that control, losing that nobility. I know a lot of people don't. I broke this down in that caste system video. Surnames, whatever names, were actually crest. Your family name was your crest, your ability, lineage you came from. And only nobles had surnames, last names. Peasants never had them. Yet something else we took from history and evolved. So, I mean, we're talking about consent versus we not consent. I mean, it goes back, Tacky Vanilla said it perfectly. You freely gave your freedoms when you activated your phone or when you joined the platform. You know, and you wonder why the world is the way it is today, why we see the things, the atrocities, the lack of morals. Simple. Consent is an illusion. Why? Because these people, they think they are above all of us. We're the peasants. We have no rights. Rights. That's not, and believe me, when I say this, most of our forefathers, that's not what they did. People forget that. Or they say that's conspiracy. Well, now, to be completely honest, how many forefathers, ancestors are still politicians or in politics, families? Very few. No, actually, Pam, I'm going to disagree with you. You are right, but I'm going to agree with you. To the pledgations. United. Now we're supposed to be one nation, under God, individual, liberty, and justice for all. We're united. We're not united. We're divided. We're so divided we can't even ground most of the time with each other. And that's the reality of it, and they use it to keep us divided. They find ways to hit us together. Oh, let's make this race. Oh, you said that, so therefore you offended me. The more divided, the weaker we are. They actually are stronger because they aren't divided. They adhere to their ideology of rulers. We are the peasant slaves. And I'm sure I just offended a bunch of people. But it's the truth. You know, I like most everybody out there. I like to believe there's good politics out there, good people that really believe in the same things I believe. But I don't see it. Oh yeah, they are creating the division. It's intentional. They want it. Why? Because when we're too busy arguing among ourselves, they just pass whatever law they want. We're easily to fall victim to the illusions of things they dangle in front of us, doing something completely different that we don't catch until it's too late. Any of these truths channels, conspiracy channels, different. They're enlightening people. You know, that's why I don't talk too badly about platforms. Us. You know, like I said, you can't. All the good things we can do here on YouTube, all the good things we can learn, that's the things we got to focus on. That's why I've kind of been talking a lot about AI and technology here of late. Granted, it's just a theory. Like net neutrality. Yeah, no, that's bad. But yet, I'm just pointing out, let's talk about that for a second. But let's not talk about the net neutrality. Let's talk about some of the things that have been implemented already. Windows 10. Now, any computer you buy has Windows 10. You can't away from it. I remember on my Windows 7, on my XP, you had programs like Microsoft Word, Word document, all stuff that was already built into the computer. Or you could go buy the software, like for me, Adobe, Photoshop Elements, programs. Yes, I had to buy all that stuff. But now they don't want you to. They want you to rent it. Much like net neutrality, they want you to pay for it. So I want to play World of Warcraft. Well, because I'm taking up more bandwidth than my neighbor, I need to pay more to be able to play a game. You know, Warcraft ain't free. I might as well say $15 a day. I'm just lucky I have a friend that feels sorry for me. Knows that's my escape from things. That's paid for my game test a couple months. Because it was a escape from things. Way I can go rent, go play World of Warcraft, go game. Now I'm using it as a completely different tool. Go and talk about the things I talk about on here while I'm playing a game. Why? Because they see I'm thinking so. They know what I'm talking about. Find the loopholes. Use the tools to your advantage. But, so there's more ways to, and that's how they do it. They say, well, you're already paying, get used to already paying for renting Photoshop, renting Word, Microsoft Word, Office Works. We're getting to it instead of buying it and actually owning it on your computer or having it already on your computer or cell phone app or whatever. You start getting to paying for it, renting it. Like I get used to paying for getting a game card code for my friend to be able to play. Well, now that I enjoy those things, so let's get rid of net neutrality. Okay, let me charge you $5 extra to play World of Warcraft. Let me charge you $5 extra, or $10 extra to watch Netflix. Let me charge you $10 extra for streaming on YouTube or watching YouTube videos. Why? You're using more bandwidth, using more data, energy. So therefore, we want you to pay. A lot of people get confused that net neutrality is, protects our freedoms and some rights. Makes we put on the internet free use. It's a little bit deeper than that. It's supposed to control corporations from being monopolizing on it. We get the internet, we have access to Google. We don't have to pay extra to our service provider to have Google. Now, for us to pay Google to use Google and pay extra net provider to be able to use Google. Oh, but yeah, it gets even better than that. You guys want to order things, have it right straight to your house. You want to order food, have it brought to your house. You don't have to go out. Well, now you need to pay extra to your service provider for that. You might have to pay extra now if we get rid of net reality. But they introduce these things before all that, before they take that away. So you're hooked. You're used to it. You won't need it. It becomes a need. Instead of a luxury, it becomes a necessity. Come around and just take the net neutrality away from you. Relying on that. You forgot what it's like to go to the store. Go to the fine dining restaurant or the local pub. Because you come to enjoy the solace of your own little space, the quiet, not around a bunch of people. That's how they do things. They give you a little, it's an illusion. They give you the sense of freedom, sense of reality. I think it's lazy. I mean, but then again, I got to go to the store anyway. I got to get up and drive. Well, I take that back. They do now because you got Uber. Drive all the way out here. That's actually something I learned in Boone. I mean, about Boone. There was people that used it that you could have them buy groceries out, would deliver it clear out in the country for a little extra fee, which wasn't that much. So you didn't have to go a half hour up the mountain to town because, trust me, driving sucked. Everything compact because it's on a mountain. It never had road rage have road rage. So, I mean, that's how things keep evolving. It's like, I'm right to blame for some of this. But then again, I'm not going to blame the parents. I'm definitely going to blame the education system and the Common Core problem. That's a blame. A well-deserved blame. That's why a lot of our kids are the way they are today. That's why a lot of the younger generations are the way they are. Haven't been taught their history. Then when, say, like me comes and talks about things in history, be like having an argument with my friend's 10-year-old daughter about the Boston Tea Party. That never happened. I will never forget that the rest of my life. Really never happened. That's part of our history. No, it's not. It never happened. It's not in our history books. Take PA or physical education out of school. Let's take the OW program out of schools. For those that don't know what OW is, it's a work program for kids. So they can actually go to school half the day, work a job, skills up. Let's not regulate businesses so they can just keep raising prices never lower them. A video on that. Raising the minimum wage. It won't work. Why? Because raise the minimum wage. And what is the business going to do? They're going to raise the prices to match the increase of wage. And by the way, guys, you just paid less. They're going to suffer more increase because you jump bracket. Now you're paying more taxes and get home less. And prices of everything went up to match the wage increase. There's no laws and regulations preventing happening. I mean, I'm all about business. Mom and pops and stuff, it hurts them the most. They're the ones, they don't want to raise the price. That's for having to raise the prices. Their business. Businesses should be able to make a little profit. You raise the $10, okay. I can see it up to $2, maybe $2 increase in prices. But that goes into greed. They're corporate. It goes back to even caste system. They are nobility. They want us, or we are the slave. We work for it. We want them to have little as possible and have to work more and harder for it. Gives them this control. Truthfully, we live in a world of sadists. Sadists and masculine. Never thought of that on the stream. I mean, we do. We live in a world of masters and slaves. Submissive. Dominance versus submissive. How do we take that back? Well, we take that back about it. Well, you know what? I just can't agree with that. In our communities, bringing these very discussions that I'm talking to you guys with into our communities, pointing things out. We can make change. That's not an illusion. Change can happen. We have to work because we're so divided. We got to find a way to find common ground with each other. Just like I know people that I would love to have on the stream. Come on, talk. They won't. Why? Because I sometimes talk about esoteric stuff and training in esoterics. They overlook that I also have Christian teachings as well. But you can't have both. Oh, I did that right earlier. I had where I got be one thing for this channel and be one thing for this channel. But that's the reality of things. As I have 2 different channels. That's why before I came on here, I actually did a podcast on Facebook. Kind of talking about the same things we're talking about tonight with that community. Because I hold that community more responsible for things. For the abuse of stepping people without instruction manuals. Am I? Well, probably. I mean, I've touched on how many different subjects I'd be talking about. I could see, I've actually been watching, on the screen, I don't know if you see, yeah, you guys can see it, if you're watching it. But catching my, the YouTube video as it's playing, flash in and out sometimes, like my chat's disappearing, but it's not on this end that I'm watching. I see it through Hangout doing it, and I also see it up in the video as it's playing. Just a few funny things happen. That's cool. I've noticed it. I said anything about it now. But it's there for people to see. Speaking of which, I need to remember when I get off here, I need to go download my videos to my computer. If I want to keep these videos, I need to download them to my back portable drive. You know, the other illusion here on YouTube. People think when they make their video private, I talked about this last night, that the video is private, you can see it. And actually not. Whoever you give that link to can actually go watch that video. So therefore your video is technically not private. It's like Google documents. Documents may be private when I put them up. I have the ability to give anybody the link to be able to go view that document. And maybe not the rest of the web can see that document because it's not public. But those I give the link to see the things that some people don't understand what they've actually consent to. You know, a lot of people apparently didn't understand that. Just because you've made your video private doesn't mean it's private. It goes back to how I started this program. Nowhere in my descriptions or nowhere in my tags or in my title, even drown. But yet we shared the video to Twitter, which I always do. I consented to TOS, its algorithm, its AI, third party, to monitor what was said during the video. And therefore, during the live stream, it decided to show this video to followers on law. I think is allowed, exactly. Or drugs with the cloud. So I don't even have the cloud on this computer, but it still has access to. Why? Because I'm connected to the, therefore it has access to the cloud. Most updates now are done to the cloud. Especially if you have Adobe products, just like I have certain software for XSplit. Those gaming community and gaming all the time in live stream. While I game, I had to upload some software that could only be got in Dropbox. Yes. I mean, it's just like, I talked about earlier today on Facebook. NASA. Why do I mention the two? Well, I mention the two because the founder and creator of rockets named Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons was an occultist. You guys can look it up, videos. There's tons of them. Babylon work. A ritual. Now you're saying, well, how are you connecting Scientology? I will say left-hand man because in the occult community we dub him the Black Magician. Was Parsons' partner. Who was the Black Magician? I shouldn't have said that. Oh well. Say that because I've known people that's been for saying they didn't like that reference title, but that's what it was. There's plenty of great documents on it. The Babylon working. And out in California, there's one of the NASA sites named after Parsons Institute. I think that's what it's called. Can you see the connections? Just like I pointed out. We've talked about a little bit about blockchain. The magical squares. nothing more than the inevitable. Which I know just don't know what I'm talking about. Don't worry. I'm talking about for you, out the connections to esoteric sides of things. I mean, like I said, in the end, everything can be connected. You start seeing the patterns, the connections, where things originated. I mean, for those that believe in the idea of fallen angels, the wild, well, with the man, science, math, language, reading, writing, astrology, astronomy, all of it, in a sense that they do. There's my opinions and views. They do. They gave you the keys to the garden, to the forbidden fruit. I was watching a video on language. I'm out of New Mexico, that stuff. They were talking about red. What's the numerics for numerology for red? For all those who want to say the red pill, 666. What is the red pill? Is it not the apple? Forbidden fruit? New way to look at matrix. That's where the term came from. And you see the world for what it is. You see the truths. You see the veil of the illusions. You've just taken a bite out of the apple, the forbidden. You guys can believe what you want on that. Something you might want to ponder. For those that want to call themselves a red pill, this is just another label. In my opinion, as well. But labels have meaning, they have power, and they have within a meaning, much like apps. There's more meaning behind it in the background, the shadows, as people say. I get a kick out of people that call people out. The people that are there's always people in the shadows. There's people in the shadows fighting a war that's been going on for centuries. Yeah, it's coded, so is movies. You know, as much as I'm not a Hollywood anymore, the fact is, they've used Hollywood. And a part of me likes to believe sometimes there's people who would direct these stories, give us clues. I mean, I'll go back and quote from, what's the name of that movie? The Lost Boys. When he talks about comics books. How that the comic books are used to use truth. Media does the same, so does media. We're researching that word there. I like to think some of the movies as well. I mean, there's a message in everything if you look. Patterned everything. So no shadow or going on for since probably time. You know, we're always going to have a good apple and a bad apple. We're going to have people that are in the shadows fighting against those very same things. But you also got to remember some of the people that are in the shadow that you might think are on your side. And they agree with almost everything you say. They still hold good from past offenses. You know, we can claim we're awake all we want. There's a fraction awake because we're divided. We can't treat each other as true brothers and sisters because, oh, you believe this, therefore you're an enemy, you're evil. And that's right, guys. That's how they just divide. That's how they keep us. We can never rise up as a united front when we can't get past our division, our old hatreds. That's weird. Video later and find out while my sound's going on and off because I've got Hangouts up on my screen and it's only my mic perfect. But that's pretty much all covered things I wanted to cover tonight. Just for me to get off since I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties, it seems. I keep watching up, see my screen, the chat and stuff disappear from my thing. That's probably might be when my mic's acting up. So I'm going to write down so when I go back to rewatch, I can't catch something. Every time I see the screen flicker off, I'm not sharing my chat or my screen. My mic's acting up there. And the bandwidth and stuff, I'm running perfect. I said I actually hadn't been doing a video on this because, you know, I was going to talk about something else. But I think it was important to actually discuss this now. Because, I mean, see it. It seems consent is all over the... I mean, granted, I don't agree with that part of the consent aspect there because I think that's morally wrong and no mean no. That part of consent, there's no argument about it. There's a right or wrong. Yes and no. There's maybe in between. But yeah, I am going to wrap this up for tonight. I'll schedule my next, but I think the next one I'm going to do Friday night or Saturday night. Do a live stream. I'll schedule that one so people know. Not sure what topic's going to be. I might just do a question and answer stream. Would you guys be up for that? I'm sure you guys have got all kinds of questions you'd like to ask. I'm not one. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. You guys enjoy the rest of your week, which is about over. Be safe and have a good night.